So the first topic that was discussed yesterday was how to set goals. So there are certain guidelines that may be followed in setting up of motivational goals. The first one is assign measurable goals. That is, goals should be stated in quantitative terms and include target or deadlines. Second is assign challenging but doable goals. That is, goals should be challenging but not so difficult that they appear impossible or unrealistic. Third is encourage participation. In setting up of goals, an acronym SMART is used where S stands for specific, M stands for measurable, A stands for achievable, R for relevant, and T for time bound. Now the second topic that was discussed was different processes of goal setting. There are two ways of setting goals. The first approach includes top to bottom approach, that is when goals are set by top managers, then they flow down through the organization. It does not include involvement of persons in lower hierarchy. This approach is also called traditional approach. Second approach is called management by objectives approach, which is coined by Peter Drucker. This approach engages with the lower functionaries. It is a process of setting mutual goals, that is, both supervisor and subordinates jointly set goals. And the best example of management by objectives is itself in our university, related to the foundation of AMU, that it was the goal of Sir Sayyid to establish residential university, but during his lifetime it was not fulfilled, but realized after 22 years. So we can say his goal was achieved because his goal setting engages others. Peter Drucker also explains that business by its very nature contains three powerful forces of misdirection. First is specialized nature of work, that was explained by the example of Mahabalipuram. Second is hierarchical structure of management, and third is differences in the vision. So that is why Peter Drucker says that the management by objectives will be the basis of all actions of management of the enterprise. In last, the discussion was about the types of plans. There were two types of plans discussed. First is plans with different frequencies. It includes single-use plans like one-time projects. Standing plans are the plans made for repeated use. Policies, procedures, and rule are the example of standing plans. And the third plan is contingency plans, which is used after the failure of any other plan. The second one is plans with different time horizons. This include long-term plans and short-term plans. So that is all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Faizan. Next one, please.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Today I'll be presenting the recap of yesterday's class. The first question that we took up in yesterday's class was how to set up challenging goals. The element which must be present in the setting up of challenging goals is that it must be effectively challenging yet achievable. There's an acronym that is used for such goals, which is SMART, where S stands for specific, which means that the goal should be clear, well defined, and unambiguous. M stands for measurable, which means that a progress can be measured towards the accomplishment of goals. A stands for achievable. It means that the goals should have an element of challenge in them, but they must be attainable at the same time. R stands for relevant. It means that the goals should be realistic, and they must create an engagement with others. And finally, T stands for time bound. It means that the goals should have a clearly defined timeline, and they must not be vague. Then we discuss about the process of goal setting. Basically, we have two approaches. The first approach is top to bottom approach, where the top management of the organization sets the goals and the rest of the organization work towards the accomplishment of those goals. The second process is the bottom up approach, where the top management engages with the lower functionaries of the organization and then together they set up the goals. The term used for this approach by Peter Drucker is MBO, that is Management by Objectives. Unless our goal setting process engages with others, we will not be able to sustain the efforts. For example, it was initially Sir Syed's vision to create AMU, but he was not the sole person responsible for that. There was this person called Mehdi Mia who was initially did not support Sir Syed's idea, but ultimately he was molded into it. So this is the beauty of the creation of the goal setting process, that it creates engagement with others. Management by objective is best suited in organizations where people have too narrow approach to their specialty and are not able to link that with the larger vision of the enterprise, thus creating problems for the enterprise. So MBO is best suited for them as it tells them that what the larger contribution their specialty is creating in the organization. But sometimes this creates hierarchical problems in the organization as the vision gets diverted as it flows from top to bottom. Peter Drucker calls it forces of misdirection which exist in every organization. Then we discuss the types of plans. On the frequency of use, plans can be categorized as standing plans and single-use plans. Standing plans are for regular use, like the process of admission, the process of conduct of examinations. These plans need not to be changed every now and then. Standing plans can be of different types, like we have policies, procedures, and rules. If we take the example of a university, then the policy can be of attending the classes in the physical mode. And for the accomplishment of this policy, we have procedures like the marking of attendance every day. And to formulate this, we have rules like the attendance should be 75% and so on. The next plans are the single-use plans. These are one-time use plans and are specially used for a project, for example, the creation of a specific department. The next category of plan on the basis of time horizon are short-run plans and long-run plans. Short-run plans are basically the technical plans and long-run plans are the strategic plans. That was all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajda. So we had very good presentations by Faizan and Rojda. Both of them did a good job in terms of covering the content. Maybe Faizan, as he moves along and polishes his language further, he will grow into an even more effective speaker. But otherwise, he has a good working command over language. Now it's a question of bringing a fine touch in the language, and that will help you further. And Rujda has a good command over language and she spoke with confidence. Maybe next time you focus a bit more on your body language also. You were not able to reinforce your verbal communication with your non-verbal communication. So maybe more energetic, more lively posture where you engage with the audience as if you are engaging with the audience. So that kind of orientation will help you. Now, about the content which you covered, I think there may be some confusion about one of the alphabet of that acronym that we shared, SMART. R stands for relevant. Realistic we have already discussed in terms of achievable, isn't it? Here R stands for being relevant, isn't it? So by relevance, what do we mean? I mean some kind of societal connect. So if we come up with the goals that have some link with the society, like for example, Sir Syed was trying to cater to an unfulfilled need of the society. So likewise, I think if we use the term relevant for this alphabet R, that would better capture the spirit of goal setting. So the core is
So can it be relevant if it concerns only the organization?
I said something which is which serves a purpose. Raison d'etre. What is the raison d'etre? Isn't it? So we are discussing elements of motivational goals. So when a goal would have the element of inspiring others, that would happen only when they are relevant, isn't it? Maybe they don't understand it then and there. For example, many of the Muslim community, when Sir Syed initiated, did not understand the relevance, but sooner or later they realized the relevance. So relevance to me is in terms of societal connect. does it really fulfill an unfulfilled need of the society? So that is what I mean by relevance. Kamran, am I clear on this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Then when we were discussing different types of plans, we discussed in terms of time horizon, and we said we could have short range plans or we could have long range plans, medium term plans also. So maybe Rujda use the term technical. No, I use the word tactical. So short range plans are generally tactical plans. For example, when you go for, let us say, game of cricket, for example, there is a long term plan. You want to win championship. For example, there's a World Cup happening and you want to win the World Cup. So that's your larger game plan. But then for individual games, we have to have our own strategy. For example, against which opponent we would employ, let us say, our spinners. If we have realized that maybe this particular team lacks the ability to face the spinners. Okay. So the term is tactical, Rushta, not technical.
Okay, sir.
So we talked about different time horizons. Plans could have different time horizons. The plans could have different frequency of use. I talked about standing plans and single use plans. And plans could have different formats also. Like, for example, if I ask you to develop your career plan and I ask you to describe it, you will use a descriptive format. And you will do it in the second semester when we take up the course on business communication. I will ask you to write your career plan. But then plans could also be in terms of could be in terms of graphics. So for example, when we were carrying out this project of new management complex, our project management company gave us, mostly they would give us graphic plans. And they would show in a particular month which activities they would undertake and what is the time frame of completing those activities. Even the budget of the country, for example, which is presented in the parliament, that is an example. It has explanations, descriptions also, but the core document is in terms of the graphics, is in terms of the numbers, the budgets. So it could be descriptive or it could be graphic. Okay. So this is the way we can develop our plans. But now let me ask you a question. Does it help to plan? I came across a very interesting statement in this account, and I think I'm sharing it with you just to, provoke you to think of relevance of planning. And the statement said, plans are nothing. Planning is everything. What could be the message that is being conveyed in this statement? Plans are nothing. Planning is everything.
So, in my opinion, the plans represent the final, the end process, in which the end result is signified. But in planning, there comes challenges. We overcome them, and we learn a lot.
Okay.
Sir, in my opinion, planning is something which is visionary, which is something related to the future and
Yeah.
goals. And plans are our short term goals.
Okay. Somebody said plans are the outcome. Huh? This is the end result of planning. And planning for Keshu is a visionary process, isn't it? So it is the journey, not the destination. So what is important, the journey or the destination?
Journey, sir.
Plan is
It's a
map.
journey.
Journey, sir.
Plan is map or blueprint, but the speaker focused on the journey, that we should enjoy the journey instead of focusing on the map and the route and everything.
Actually, this statement could be subjected to varied interpretations, but my interpretation is that it sums up both the positives of planning as also the negatives of it. What it can do and what it cannot do. For example, when we plan in a dynamic environment, will that planning be ever effective? I'm blessed with twins, and both of them are in class 12th. And for last 3 months, we are struggling with their studies. And all the time they plan. In fact, their exams now are scheduled to start from 3rd of April. And even now, there is uncertainty whether the university will finally be able to hold exams offline. What does that convey about planning? Should we engage in planning when we have such a uncertain and dynamic kind of situation?
Sir, I think it's about improvisation. When we plan by ourselves, we can improvise according to the
Okay.
situation. But when we get the ready-made plan, we can't, because it said, when in battle, the first casualty is the plan itself.
Okay. Can you say it again?
When in battle, the first casualty is the plan itself. If we have made the plan ourselves, we can improvise according to the situation.
In fact, I read another statement which may be conveying the same idea which Kamran you have shared. And it said, life is what happens to us when we were busy making plans.
Yes, sir.
So the challenge of planning is that actually I came across another statement. It said, you do not step into the same river twice. What does that mean? You know, do not step into the same river twice. When we enter into the river, it is the same river. Why this statement? We do not step into the same river.
So the first time we step into the river, we go slowly to analyze the depth of the river, and by the second time we know the depth, and accordingly we swim or cross the river by feet if it is shallow.
It is about the mindset we are stepping into the river, sir. It will be different in both the cases.
Okay.
Sir, as it is, there is a quote also. No two persons ever read the same book, because it is all about the mindset.
Kamran, mashallah, you have very good repertoire of good quotes. Very good.
Thank you, sir.
You can write it on the chat box also for others to benefit. So what Kamran is saying is a very, very subtle point which we all need to appreciate. What he's saying is that when we enter into the river, each time we enter with a different mindset. Is it so?
Yes, sir.
Why? Is it so that our mindset undergoes such fast changes? So actually what is this statement indicating when you say that we do not step into the same river twice? Actually, it is referring to two dynamics. One dynamics is what Kamran hints at. When we enter the river second time, and this was not specifically stated in this manner by Aditya. Maybe first time when we enter, we are a bit apprehensive about its depth and all that, and we just enter it to gauge the depth of the river, make an assessment on that account. So maybe next time when we enter more confidently. So that means our second attempt is not same as the first attempt, because our mindset, maybe in terms of our confidence, for example, has changed. So we are looking at one fluidity, and that fluidity is we ourselves as a personality. We undergo experiences, and those experiences change us. But what about the second part of it? Do we really step into the same river?
So because of the flowing water, it keeps on changing.
Yes,
It's not the same.
it is not the same water. Because that stream of water in which we have entered the first time, that has undergone change. And now we have a new stream of water. So actually this sums up the positives also of planning, as also the flip side of planning. The positive is when we plan, we are able to see ahead, we are able to look ahead. It forces us to think ahead, isn't it? So that is one part of fluidity. That we gradually become more visionary when we engage in planning. For example, if you start your day, each day, with let us say your to-do list, what I will do today. Now this very simple act of preparing your to-do list each day, gradually some of the things then you are able to crystallize perfectly. And you are able to distinguish between what is the routine stuff that you engage in and what is the non-routine stuff that you engage in. So maybe routine stuff will then become a part of your repertoire, and you may not have to plan so much for it after some period of time. You already know it, that this is what you have to do each day. So planning is positive because it forces us to think ahead. It gives us a sense of direction, where we are going. And this is very different as opposed to a person who has no to-do list for each day. What will happen with him? He will jump from issue to issue. जो चीज याद आएगी उसी को करने लगेगा, फिर अरे वो भी तो करना है. So it would be, for such a person, it would be a very piecemeal kind of decision making, as opposed to a person who prepares the to-do list each day, and then maybe intuitively he will sequence also कि कौन से काम मुझे पहले करना है. For example, there are some things which I have to do in house. There are some things which I have to move out. Suppose I have to take up a bank thing bank related matter. So naturally I will have to go out and I can look at my things. Okay, when I go out along with the bank work, I can do this also. I can do purchasing for my house also. Otherwise, it may happen that I may go for the bank work at one part of the day and for shopping for another part of the day. So my decision making, if I don't have a to-do list, it would be very piecemeal. So planning helps us. It gives us a sense of direction. It helps us avoid piecemeal decision making. And at the end of the day, for example, we can also have a stock of what we could accomplish and what we could not accomplish. So if we started the day with, a list of 15 work that we want to perform, and we were able to complete 13 of them, we can look back with some satisfaction. Okay. So it facilitates control also. You have a sense of direction. You also have a sense of control over your destiny. Yes, I could do this. Maybe 2 things I could not accomplish. I will accomplish it next day. So we transfer it. So that's the advantage of planning. But what is the limitation of planning? If you were to pinpoint some limitations of planning, I think the major limitation is related to the dynamism which I talked about, the uncertainties that we talked about.
They make us rigid,
Yes,
sir.
that's a very important point, Kamran. Sometimes, we get so hooked to our plans that we don't see how the landscape is changing. It is like, taking a snapshot of a moving car. We cannot really understand the movement of the car by its snapshot. So we need to have an idea about how the car moves actually, which speed it should move, how it should wade through the crowded paths and all that. So if we become so rigid as a result of our planning, and I've seen, Kamran, I don't know what has been your experience because of which you said so, but I've seen people who are too focused on planning. Anything that disturbs their plan actually makes them very jittery, very nervous. And in the process, they would lose the effectiveness. For example, there are some people who, especially who are very organized, when they have to travel, for example, they will look into every minute detail of their travel. And they would make sure that they have their reservations done. They will make sure when they reach there is somebody to receive them at the airport or at the station. Then they will make sure that, the bookings and all are done. Now, as opposed to that, I have seen some expert travelers who just pick up their bag and move to the station and, see which train is arriving, and they would not have any reservation. They would just get into the train, would bargain for a seat then and there, and then would move to the next station. And, I don't know which approach is correct. I will come to the creativity issue, Taj. You can raise it. Right now, I'm discussing the issue of the life itself. Which approach, suppose you would indulge in? Suppose you have to go on a sales visit. You are in a marketing job. So what is better strategy? plan everything well in advance, meticulous planning, or just pick up the bag and take the first train that you get on the station?
So planned.
Planning everything.
And because many of my students are in sales and marketing, I know after some period of travel, they become like, for example, our own teacher, Professor Javed Akhtar. I mean, he's such an expert traveler that he would never think, I mean, he would have some cash in his hand, and it so happened he was going to Cochin, and somehow he was stuck while moving. He missed his Cochin flight from Delhi, and he reached the station very comfortably. He had a cup of tea, and then he said, "Aap kya karna hai?" And he found that there's a flight to Bangalore. So he booked that flight, and then from there somebody told him there is an overnight bus from Bangalore to Cochin, you can board it. Then he rang up from there only to one of his students in Bangalore. Is it true that we have it overnight journey like this? And he said, yes, fine. But the margin was so, less that it was very difficult to catch that overnight bus. Then he said, what is the route of that bus? And then they found that what is the nearest is intersection point from the airport. And then he requested his student to come to airport, pick him up from there. And finally, he reached Cochin early morning at 6 a.m. Even his, hosts were surprised to see him at that hour of the day. So actually, planning is important, but a planning which creates very right word which Kamran used, rigidity, fixedness, and any deviation from that, if it disturbs you, then that kind of planning is actually detrimental, not really advantageous. Then a point which Taj was making, is it so that planning creates a boundary and because of which we lose our creativity? Just now I described you this travel of Javed Akhtar Saab to Cochin.
Yes, sir, to some extent you can say that.
So, is it so that planning reduces creativity?
Yes, sir, it does.
So then you do not explore the untraveled path. I mean, you just stick on the plan and follow that.
So creativity is also required when you are planning, actually.
Yes, that also is a point. Yes. Actually, when you are exploring options, a lot of creativity is required because planning and decision making are linked. Isn't it? For example, if you want to go to Cochin, how would you go to Cochin? What are the options before you? Can you go through it, the normal route? Or is there other option also, like for example, going to Bangalore and from there taking that overnight journey in a cab or in a bus? And we all know that in southern India, the bus service, the overnight bus service is very comfortable. So that's an option which we have to explore. So the point that we are discussing, we are making is that yes, there is an element of creativity involved in planning. especially in terms of developing as many alternatives as possible. And then we choose the best alternative. And as one of our reporter was saying, yes, we have a contingency plan also ready. But again, it's a question of, a mindset. What happens is, and we were discussing very commonplace examples, but let us discuss examples from the world that matters. Why it so happens that each year, when you look at the list of, let us say, top 100 companies of India, for example, or a world, each decade the list undergoes change. Why it so happens that a company, in fact, if you look at the top 10 list, hardly 3-4 companies would be able to retain their position in top 10. And some fresh entrants would be there. So why it so happens that somebody has planned and has reached to that position, and why it is not able to maintain that position?
Because sir, they plan to face competition on a present basis. Not they do not have a vision.
Yes. That's another criticism against planning, that it forces you to think of here and now, not really the long term.
Sir, in my opinion, I think we always need plan. So as you said in the example of Javed sir journey, I think he also needs plan on every step. The difference is you either have the long-term plan or short-term plan. For example, if he's going from to Kochi, before he had direct plan, I mean the flight. But when he missed the flight, then definitely he might have to think on second option, that is short-term planning. So I think on every step you must have some plan, either it is short term or long term.
Okay. Now I am asking, yes, I think that point we have already discussed, and we also discussed that you have to have your contingency plan ready, and that is possible when you explore all the options, isn't it? What are different ways of going to Kochi, isn't it? This is the normal thing. This is the alternate route that you can take. All those things we have to work out. You may have to work out the cost implications also. Maybe Cochin flights are costlier. Bangalore being the hub, you can reach there maybe spending less time, not time, but at least money, because you have more flights to Bangalore. So, but I am asking you a question: why people who reach at the top are not able to maintain their position at the top? That's my larger question. As they say, बुलंदियों पे पहुंचना कोई कमाल नहीं, बुलंदियों पे ठहरना कमाल होता है. So I am asking you in the context of people, I am asking you in the context of organizations. Very few organizations are able to sustain the top positions. Why? Is it so that planning actually becomes detrimental at some stage? Can we blame planning for that? They losing out their position?
So they might not be able to readjust according to the situation they are put in. That's why they fall.
It's because of the high competitions available and present in the market.
They don't have a foresight. They can't plan long term.
They can't plan long term.
And sir,
या कहीं ऐसा भी होता है कि जब आदमी
higher levels of
प्लानिंग के
success
जरिए, Usman, you are saying something?
No.
Usman, you are saying? Okay. तो कहीं ऐसा तो नहीं है कि अगर हम लोग कामयाब हो जाते हैं किसी रूट से तो हमें लगता है कि यही रूट है कामयाब होने का, and we become less acceptable, we are less accepting to the alternate routes.
Yes, sir, it happens. Sir. It happens.
बट सर अगर मैं उस रूट से कामयाब हुआ हूँ तो मेरे लिए तो वही एक रूट मोस्ट अफोर्डेबल और मोस्ट सक्सेसफुल रूट हुआ ना।
हाँ वो हुआ, लेकिन कभी कभी क्या होता है कि वो रूट स्टेल हो जाता है, पुराना हो जाता है। ये मैं आपसे कोई थियोरेटिकली एब्स्ट्रैक्ट बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ, मेरे एक दोस्त हैं जो फैमिली बिजनेसेस को डील करते हैं। ही इज अ कंसल्टेंट टू फैमिली बिजनेसेस, दैट्स हिज डोमेन एक्सपर्टीज। और उनका कहना यह है कि जनरेशनल शिफ्ट जब होता है तो सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम यही आती है कि जो ओल्डर जनरेशन है वो कहती है कि हम तो इस तरह से कामयाब हुए, ये आप क्या नया तरीका हमें बता रहे हैं।
यस सर।
अभी मैं कल अपने एक दो पुराने स्टूडेंट से बात कर रहा था, उनकी फैमिली बिजनेस है, दे आर इनटू बिजनेस ऑफ पब्लिशिंग बुक्स एंड ऑल दैट। तो उसके जो वालिद हैं और उसके जो ताया हैं वो उस बिजनेस को चलाते आए, 30 साल से चला रहे हैं, कोई इशू नहीं है, अच्छा काम भी चल रहा है, ठीक है। लेकिन वो कह रहा था कि इतनी सी चीज भी एक्सेप्टेबल नहीं है। मैं कहता हूं कि भाई अब उर्दू की किताबें यहाँ आके खरीद के आपसे लेने वाले कितने लोग रह गए। आप अपना थोड़ा वाइडर ऑडियंस को एड्रेस करने के लिए कुछ ऑनलाइन की तरफ जाएं, बट बोथ द एल्डर्स डिसएग्री टू दिस कि अरे हमें तुम क्या पट्टी पढ़ा रहे हो, हमने इतने साल बिजनेस की है। तो एक्चुअली क्या होता है कि जब आप प्लानिंग के जरिए कामयाब, कहीं किसी स्टेज पे जरूर उन दोनों भाइयों ने प्लानिंग की होगी, उस बिजनेस को एक स्टेज पे ले आए होंगे, लेकिन एक स्टेज के बाद उन्हें लगता है कि भाई यही तरीका है कामयाब होने का, and they become very rigid for accepting an alternate approach. तो जो पॉइंट अभी कामरान कह रहे थे वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट है कि कभी कभी प्लानिंग से रिजिडिटी आ जाती है, खासतौर से उस प्लानिंग से जिसने आपको कामयाब किया हो, और आपके जहन में ये बैठ जाता है कि अरे मैं तो इसी के जरिए कामयाब हुआ था, अब मुझे कोई नया तरीका कौन बता सकता है। And trust me on this account, this is the most serious problem in the family businesses. The patriarch of the family would keep insisting कि अरे हमें सबक सिखा रहे हो तो। तो अब आप फिर इसको रिविजिट कीजिए, इस क्वेश्चन को, प्लान्स आर नथिंग, प्लानिंग इज एवरीथिंग। तो एक्चुअली द की क्वेश्चन इज, मैं एक आपके सामने I will share with you a couplet, and on that note I will end today's lecture. It says कि जुस्तजू हो, जुस्तजू is striving, isn't it? जुस्तजू हो तो सफर खत्म कहाँ होता है, जुस्तजू हो तो सफर खत्म कहाँ होता है, यूं तो हर मोड़ पे मंजिल का गुमा होता है। Guma is illusion. We have the illusion of having arrived, but we never arrive because it's an ongoing journey. तो जिस स्टेज पे हमने ये समझ लिया कि now we have arrived, that's the end of the journey. That day we become dead. We may not be physically dead, but we are intellectually dead. So the challenge of planning is, how can you continue your efforts despite your successes and keep striving for higher and still higher goals and ways to reach to those goals. Agar if we indulge in planning with such orientation, planning is everything. But if we become, too fixed to our plans, then there is a serious problem. That kind of, sticking to the plans creates a stagnation in life. Yes, Usman is very right. सितारों से आगे जहां और भी हैं. There is a very beautiful couplet of अल्लामा इकबाल कि इसी गजल का एक और शेर है कि इन्हीं रोजो शब में उलझ कर न रह जा, कि तेरे जमानो मकां और भी. तो अगर हम प्लानिंग ऐसी हो जाए कि उससे हम जो हमारे इर्द गिर्द हो रहा है उसी में उलझ के रह जाएं और दूर का ना देख सकें, दूर का देखना बंद कर दें, तो that planning actually is detrimental to us. And that is why tomorrow when we meet, I will coordinate with Professor Javed Akhtar. If possible, tomorrow we will have a combined class, because the theme that I am going to discuss tomorrow would require slightly more deliberations, and it may not be possible to cover it within the allotted time. So I will confirm and inform you on the WhatsApp group if Javed Sahab agrees. Tomorrow we'll have a combined class starting at 8 to 9:40. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.